What's up guys, GG Racing here, and in today's video we're gonna discuss about how to avoid spinning even with lower budget wheels. We're gonna see one tip that we can do using the sim that will make a huge difference. If you didn't know about this before, this will be a game changer. After that we're gonna see some common situations where spins happens and we'll be prepared ahead of time. And lastly, in the end, we're gonna look on the force feedback for the most common wheels on the market and see what are the best settings and how can you set them up. So stick with me, this will be worth your time. Let's go! Let's start with a quick discussion. So if the force feedback from our wheel is the limiting factor in this equation of getting a feel of the car and knowing when the car is going to slip, then it means that we must look into a different direction and see how can we use the sim in a different way in order to get an advantage from it. And the answer for this question is the sound. The sound is very important in sim racing and iRacing as well, because you can get to know so much about the car just by hearing it. And I'm not talking about the engine sounds at all, I'm talking about the tire sounds. So in the next sequence I'm going to play you the same clip but with different sound settings, and I want you to pay attention to the tire noise. As you already noticed, in the second clip you can hear more clear the tire sliding compared to the first clip, and that is because in the first clip it might seem that the volume is turned up because it's louder, but that is just the engine noises. And yes, of course, the engine sounds are cool, I like them, but let's say you have a budget wheel and you want the best performance out of your budget wheel. Those sounds won't help you so much. Instead, if you do a different settings and you can hear the tires, there are some degree to the sound of the tire sliding, so you can train yourself to catch a slide before it's happening, because you will get used to the sound of the tire, the sound that it makes when the car goes above its limit. And noticing the sound, it means that it's something like superhuman. You just feel that the car is going to slide even though it hasn't slided yet. Let's see the sound settings from iRacing. So by default iRacing comes with this preset, everything maxed out. But what you want to have is firstly tire sounds to be maxed out. Then you want to decrease the engine noises. So this, you can play with it and find the right spot for you. For me, something like this. And then you want to lower the wind and crashes sounds. You want to have the in-car to the maxed, and ambient you can lower it a bit. So this is a good starting point that you can use and you can play with it. The main thing that you must be aware is to have the tire sound to the max volume, and the rest of it you can just play with it, it will be fine. Spins do happen for various reasons and are different types of losing control of your car, but I want to show you here some of the most common ones, or something that you often see on the racetrack, either in yourself or in other drivers, because it happens quite often. So we want to take an example at Monza where we have fast corners, and in this case here we approach the corner, we go pretty fast, but as you can see here we go wide. So this is a wide exit, and here as you can see we steer to the right. So even though we went pretty wide to the left, now we want to go back to the racetrack. Let's see what happens. We keep turning to the right. At this point we don't have grip in our front tires, so the rear will start to slide. It's obvious if we just pause it, but of course in the heat of the moment maybe you don't have time to analyze it like this. that's the reason why we look at it right now, to avoid doing it in the future. So at this moment we are already compromised, the car will start sliding. But how can we avoid this? If we're in this situation, how can we take the grip and avoid a crash? So let's see what happens. We crashed. The same corner but a different approach now. Let's see it. We use the same line into the corner, we go wide again, but look what's different now. Notice? So before we were like this with the steering wheel, and now we went like this. So we straight up the wheels in order to get grip into our front tires, and that way we know for sure that we won't slide. This is not ideal, we already compromised. We don't discuss here how to gain time because the mistake was already done. We can't undo it, but we don't want to crash the car. This is the point of this example. So this is the best way to recover. And why were we able to recover is because firstly we don't have the racing line, so we know that we can take another line and not just the one that is drawn on the track, and we can use this line for example and safely rejoin. But also because we were prepared for this, we knew what to do before it happened. So when we were in this situation here of going wide, we knew that we can't push the car so much, so we take a safer line. And lastly, the last thing that I want to cover here, and this is an important topic on its own, it's the force feedback. So if you have a thrustmaster T150, a thrustmaster TMX force feedback, a thrustmaster T300 or a Logitech G29, these are all great budget wheels. I had them all, I used them, I love them. If you have one of those wheels, you need to properly set them in iRacing, but we won't cover it here because someone on YouTube already did a phenomenal job of covering it. It's called XJ Simulations. I used his videos to set up my wheel. They are pretty long videos, 10 to 20 minutes, even more, but he covered this topic in all the details, so there's no point in me doing it again. I will link in the description of this video, right below the like button, the videos for the 4 wheels that I'm talking about here, and depending on what wheel you have, go watch that video and do the settings that he has, play with them and see how it works for you. Alright guys, thanks for sticking around. I really enjoyed making this video, and all the things I talked about here are actually things that I've tried on myself and I had a fair amount of success, so it's proven, it's tested. I think you can play with most of the things that I showed you here, but I wanted to have them all in one video, at least the things that I find to be the most important for people that have lower budget wheels. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe. I really appreciate it. So see you on the next one. Bye.